So, they are down to their bare bones. No Romero, no Kulusevski, no Richarlison, no manager today. I asked for some character in the first half. Here's the stats that have gone up. But in the second half, I saw character. I saw some players that did not want to go out of this competition, that were fighting, wanted to get on the ball, and they fully deserved the win in that second half.
OK, just to bring you across what else has happened in the group this evening. Before Spurs got that goal, Frankfurt were top of the group. They were going through as group winners. They still qualify, though. They qualify for the round of 16. This was a great result for them this evening. They were a goal down to Sporting and heading out. They win 2-1. And they go through in second place. So let's just confirm then exactly what's happened this evening on a night where any one of the teams could have gone through, and at various points throughout the evening, all four of them were looking like they were going to qualify. But in the end, it's Tottenham who win the group. It's Frankfurt who go through as runners-up, Sporting into the Europa League. Marseille go out. I mean, that is how to do it, Rio. If you're going to do it with a bit of sporting drama, do it like that and keep us on the edge of our seats till the very end of the game.
Well, listen, you're going to want to come and watch Spurs again. The last few games, last-minute goals, whether it's been for them or against them, it's just exciting at the minute in the end of the game. But you watch the first half and you're sitting there thinking, I can go and make 3 cups of tea and not miss anything. Come back for the second half and it's a totally different affair. It was phenomenal, the second half, the energy with which they played, the way that their system changed and it put them on the front foot. And again, the lads said you need character and personality in these situations. They showed bundles of it in the second half.
Absolutely. Right, they've done it. Well done to them. There's so much to pick out of that game. Why they got it so wrong in the first half, why they got it so right in the second. And, of course, we'll discuss where they go from here. But the most important thing for Spurs, look at their faces. They've done it. Spurs are through. They win the group.
The velodrome is noisy and hostile for a game that is do or die. Firmly struck by Alexis Sanchez. Lorries with a good save. Whips it in, 3-header goal! Clement Longley, that's a gigantic goal for Tottenham. Poitier shoots and Tottenham are through.
Spurs have done it. They left it late. They had you on the edge of your seats, but they've made it through, not just the knockout stages, but they do it as group winners as well. Let's get some instant reaction. Des.
Hugo, that was a nail-biter. Close, it was edgy, but you're through. How do you feel tonight?
Yeah, but to be honest, we expected that type of game, you know. We know the Velodrome is a very difficult place to deal with. And I think we show great personality in the second half, you know. We were led by this good team, and Clément scored a very important goal in France in front of, the French people is important. And he helped the team to get back on track. And then the second goal of Pierre is just so important, you know, to confirm the first spot of the group.
You started slowly in a sense that they were dominating possession. You were trying to find it difficult to get out in that first half.
Yeah, we didn't play well during the first half. Maybe because we are a bit. We didn't know what happened, if we have to attack, if we have to defend, and maybe it wasn't good for us to play this type of first half. But after the first half, we speak in the locker room. We tell what we have to tell. I don't know if it's good English, but and we start the second half with a lot of power, much more personality, much more aggressivity to go to score, and we play a very, very good second half.
Yeah, second half, a lot more composure. What did it feel like scoring here?
Happy because more for the team, because we need 1 point to be classified, and it's always very important to win this type of game. I score a goal and I'm happy because it's the goal for the 1-1, an important goal for the team, and no more.
And Hugo, you had to get through setbacks like Sonny coming off as well. That was a big one.
No, it was a tough night. It was a great battle. I think it was even more a psychological battle because we could feel in the first half that there was a team that was playing without the fear to lose. It was Marseille, and then in second half we faced a team that had the fear to lose because because they were 1-0 up, and one goal could avoid their chances to go through. So I believe that when we had to face difficulties during that game, we show great personality, and even if we have to improve, especially in the first half, it's a great result. And without our coach, probably it was even more difficult for him in the stand. But it's a great winning team, you know. So that's the most important.
Clement, would you present the Man of the Match trophy to your goalkeeper then?
Thank you.
Gentlemen, well done.
It's for the team. Thank you. You deserve it. Thank you.
Nice. Well, it was certainly a team performance this evening. And actually, before we go off air at 10:30 this evening, before Champions League tonight, we'll have a look at the way that Spurs operated in the first and second half and how the two compared. And, of course, there are criticisms we can lay at the way Spurs approached this evening. But one area you can't criticise this team is the mentality they've got when they're on looking like they're going to get beaten. What's the stat? They've picked up more points from losing positions in both the Champions League and the Premier League?
Yeah, definitely. And that has to come from the manager. I think that's the mentality that he's instilling in the football club right now. For all of the kind of negativity that was talked about in terms of performance against the big teams in the first half and the way they're starting, one thing that can't be questioned is that mentality, that ability to never say die and stay in games. You know you're going to come under pressure. You know you're going to have to fight at times in the game. And you know there's going to be desperate moments. But then when their opportunities are coming their way at the minute, they're finding a way. And then this is a bad pass from Guendouzi. But here again, it's about Kane biding his time, picking up the loose ball. And Højbjerg, who hit the crossbar earlier in the game. This is a phenomenal strike. The defender on the next angle you see him, he actually does quite well. Hold on, this is quite interesting as well. Quite an interesting scene. Just the manager, is he asking for offside? I don't know. He's encroaching slightly, I think, there.
Like a young Tony Adams there.
So it is the defender. I think the defender, remember, was excellent all night. He actually does as much as he can here in terms of pushing him away from goal.
Yeah, credit to Højbjerg, because it's the 97th minute there. He's put a real shift in, especially the second half. So to make that run forward's number one, but then to get there, as the defender's coming across, and to get that kind of strike on it so late on in the game, credit to him, and fully deserved.
And look, the job for this evening was to make sure that they made it through. But to go through actually as group winners is really important. And we can show you actually the teams who have made it through. And it is significant because it means they're likely to play one of the teams on the right-hand side rather than the left-hand side. And that can make a real difference to your path from here.
Yeah, it certainly can. I mean, like, there's teams there. Listen, you want to face many of those teams on the left. So, yeah, it's a big result. A huge goal from Højbjerg. But the frustrations are just, why can't you start like that? That's my point. There's two ways of looking at it. The character to come back from losing positions, but the quality is there to go and impose yourself right from the minute.
Yeah. Well, I think also you understand in these type of games that there's going to be moments when you're going to be on the back foot, backs against the wall, away from home in the Champions League against any opposition in Europe. But it's the fact that you feel like they almost set out to start like that is a frustrating element.
That's why I thought that interview was really interesting, Rio, to be honest with you. I don't feel like they had the clarity to go and play on the front foot. It felt like what Clement Lenglet was saying was, as a team, they were a bit more kind of like protective. Let's hold on to what we've already got. But the minute they conceded the goal, as does happen at times, they just relaxed and went, you know what, let's go and play. From my point of view, like, we can see that they're better like that. Why are you not just going and doing it? You know, when you're on the front foot and playing like that, you're so much better. And you just brought up that list there of who they're going to be facing. As you go further into this competition, you won't get away with that. Yeah. You won't get a second bite in the second half to try and put your wrongs right. So they need to try and find a way to nail it down in the first half and be much more consistent over the game.
We'll have a proper tactical look at that as well after the break. But before the break, let's have a look at the equaliser, which I suppose is vital because this is the moment that Spurs were in the box seat to qualify.
Yeah, well, this set-piece coach needs a pay rise, I'll be honest, because some of the set-pieces are so important. Fantastic delivery again. And Lenglet he shows good strength, but to get the neck muscles to arch behind it right in the corner, comes off his face a little bit, but fantastic finish.
Maybe take the Man of the Match award and give it to Gianni Vio, the set-piece coach, then, eh?
Maybe. Set pieces we spoke about before the game, and it's the delivery, I think, is the most important part of it. They're putting the ball in the right dangerous areas, middle of goal. Again, that one's middle of goal, and they're getting bodies in there to cause havoc, and they got on the end of it again today.
Relieved, gentlemen?
I am. Yeah, very much so. It was a much-needed result. It was all set up, and actually, in the end, was quite thankful to an Arsenal player for missing that big chance at the end as well. So
he had to get
it was a double whammy.
He won't sleep tonight, Colossus.
All right, listen, we're going to take a very quick break. When we come back, we'll get more reaction to this. Of course, it was a night where Antonio Conte was restricted to sitting, looking frustrated in the stands. Stellini was the man down on the touchline. He's the man that, in the end, helped to guide them to the win they needed. And we'll hear from him next. It was the night where Tottenham knew what they had to do, but blimey, they made hard work of it, didn't they? Going a goal down in France, Chancellor Mbemba with the opener for the home side, because Marseille knew what they had to do as well, just pick up the win, but they couldn't hold on. The equaliser for Spurs came, and then, of course, right at the very end of the game, in added on time, they go and get the winner, and it's a winner that means they win the group, which helps them when it comes to the knockout rounds. Elsewhere in this group this evening, on a night where any of the 4 teams could have been the 2 to go through, it was Frankfurt who was celebrating. Again, they were a goal down. Again, they managed to win it 2-1. Kolo Muani with the winner in that one, putting them through. Look at the delight from them as well. So congratulations to Eintracht Frankfurt. What a brilliant debut season in the Champions League for them. And, of course, to Tottenham as well. Right, well, let's have a look then. We've spoken a lot. We've heard from a couple of players about how they felt a bit confused about how to approach the game, how to attack the game. In the second half, it felt like there was a lot more clarity. They knew what they needed to do and they went out and executed it.
Yeah, I mean, listen, we looked at the first half, we all spoke, I think between us, we all imagined that this Spurs team, as we've seen so many times this season, will play back, they'll play deep. You can see here the blue shirts, they're compact, they're back in there as a block not to get passed through. But you see here, when you win the ball, if you're a blue shirt, where do you play to get out? The space from the striker to the last centre half is 13 yards. They're not up against anybody. There's nobody in this team here you see jumping out at any time to come and win the ball, to try and press anybody. They were so passive. There was no aggression, no desire to get out. Listen, they may have been told to play like this, but we believe they was, to stay back and stay compact and don't concede.
Well, let's just talk about that then for a second, right? You know, all 3 of you have watched Spurs this season and said, when they just go for it, they play so much better. So why is the manager seemingly seeing this and thinking that this is OK, this is what he wants to see from his team?
I think it's a lack of trust to an extent. I think he has his way of playing, and a big key to it working is your wing-backs playing high. If your wing-backs don't play high, you end up with 6 at the back, essentially. That's what basically happens, and you lose a lot of territory in mid-sections of the pitch because you drop so deep. But I do think it's a trust thing. And I think that then just kind of snowballs into a situation, as Rio says, when you win the ball, you have nowhere to go, so you just keep giving it away, and the pressure then just piles on.
The problem with playing like this as well is you have no one to hit. So even when you win the ball back, you're giving the ball away straight back to your position, and it's like defence for attack, like a training ground session. Until the second half.
Exactly. Second half, as Crouchy said there, watch this. Getting out to people, being aggressive. That's the trigger. Then you watch as well. Watch this back line, by the way. Here you see the back line before who we saw. They're the edge of their box. Look where they are now, but also look in a second as the ball starts moving around their back 4. They all jump out, all get up. There's an intensity, there's an understanding that we've got to get up the pitch and condense the pitch and put pressure on this Marseille team, who, by the way, these aren't a team that are like champions of their country even. They're a decent team. It's
Look
not
at the
Man
numbers,
City or
though,
Liverpool.
Look at the numbers now.
Yeah.
In the opposition half.
In the opposition half, that just didn't happen in the first half at all. Like Harry Kane was, right back here on it in his own half. That's how they.
Do you completely see this changing under Conte?
You know what I like before you run that on, Crouchy, as well? If you just run it on at like half speed, when this ball comes into midfield here, you've got a chance to nick this now. And this is why high presses are so good, because if you do nick this one, you've got, Bissouma's, whether it drops to Bissouma here, he's got a ball into Mora, who's in acres of space. You don't have these outlets. He actually does get the ball, Bissouma, but, well, he nearly gets... Look how close he is to nicking that. And Lucas Moura is in on goal. Those things are not available to you if you're camping on the edge of your own box. And, on top of it, they can recover in time. There's things that you can do where you can make creative fouls, but the reality is the minute they kind of, moved up the pitch, they were way better, and they're still winning the ball back.
Problem is, Joe, we've been saying it all season.
Yeah.
throughout the Champions League campaign, they've started badly and they've had to recover. Even we saw it at Bournemouth, we saw it again tonight. They've got the ability to do it. They're just not being allowed to do it.
Here again, you see the back line. Look at the back line. High, aggressive. First instinct is to get up and get against people. That in the first half, all they were doing was retreating and falling back. And as a team, it's then so difficult to win the ball in any areas that you can actually affect the game. Look, they're winning the ball in the opposition half here, and they've now got options to pass the ball forward. It's such a contrast between first half and... I'd actually love to be able to speak to Conte today and just ask him those questions. Like, do you set out, do you intend to be the team that's on the back foot in the first half and then intend to maybe go a goal down or go into half-time at 0-0 and then change things? I don't know. It's really interesting for me.
Well, look, we can't speak to Conte because, of course, he was banned for this game. However, we can hear from Christian Stellini. And let's see if we can get some answers to some of those questions because he's talking to Des. Des.
Christian, deep breath for you. I mean, it was a big, big win. What did you make of that performance?
Performance is... we have to analyze that we repeat the same routine we had in the last 3-4 games. We start not well in the first half. We didn't use power and intensity in the first half. We let them to play too much in our half pitch, and we lose the pitch, and they have the control of the game. After the second half, when we change in another solution, in a 3-5-2, we had more control of the game, and we play a good second half, I think.
We saw you going through every emotion on the touchline. Did you enjoy being in the hot seat?
Yeah, I enjoy when we win, but these guys deserve to win, and because we are a good team, we have to show for 90 minutes, and we have to work again to try to do our best for all the game and not to lose one half every game.
Have you spoken to Antonio?
Yeah, I just spoke with Antonio. Antonio is tired because leave the game into the crowd. Maybe for him is not normal, and he wastes a lot of energy as well. Like it's better to stay on the touchline because you leave the game like the player are doing.
OK, well, this is how it finished then, in the end. Tottenham, winners of the group, Frankfurt second, Sporting third, and they're in the Europa League, and that will be some real frustration for Marseille. Let's not forget they had opportunities this evening. I mean, they very much could have been at least in the Europa League. They could have still been in the Champions League, and they ended up with nothing. Yeah,
Klasnic's chance at the end there was gilt edge. I mean, how he's missed that, I don't know. And that sends them through. You don't think... do Spurs recover from that? It was a huge chance, but then credit to Spurs, stayed in the game and got the winner.
Do any of you think there'll be a change in the way Spurs attack things this season, or do you think that while Conte's there, this is the approach to the game they'll have?
Yeah, because they've not, honestly, they're not playing well and haven't played well all year, which is why it's remarkable where they are. So it has to change at some point. I do believe that, Kulusevski not being in the team is huge. I think we're seeing the impact of how good he is because he's the fine balance between what they do from an attacking point of view and defensively. So when he's back, I expect to see a much better version of Tottenham.
OK, all right, let me just remind you that tomorrow evening there's plenty more football coming your way because we've still got a couple of places to be decided in the knockout stages for this season's Champions League. One of those is Shakhtar up against Leipzig. That one's an early kick-off from 5:30. That one's a straight shootout to make it through to the knockout stages. Real, Chelsea, Manchester City also all playing tomorrow. And then the final place will be decided between AC Milan and Salzburg. That one kicks off at 7:45. But make sure that you stay exactly where you are, because we're not done this evening. We've got another hour of television. 3 of us have got another hour of television. Have a lovely early night. Stay where you are. Straight after the break, Champions League tonight, live for the next hour. See you shortly.